Travel along, Catholic pilgrims, as we learn from St. Augustine, Doctor of the Church, while we read his book, Confessions. Hello, Catholic pilgrims, welcome. Before we get started today, I want to give you just a quick bit of information so that the end of the reading makes sense. St. Augustine is going to mention a man named Catiline. So taking from Antigone Journal Online, it says, Catiline, as he is known in English, came from an ancient noble family claiming descent from Sergestus, a companion of Prince Aeneas, who, according to legend, had founded the Roman people a millennium earlier after fleeing the sack of Troy. Catiline was a proud, vicious, and dissolute man. Deeply in debt, he had long coveted power at any price. He despised Cicero, a novus homo, new man, from a family with no history of public achievement and from a provincial town which had only gained full Roman status some 125 years before. Furious at failing to be elected consul and desperate to escape from his difficulties, Catiline hatched a plot with others in similar circumstances to overthrow the established order and murder leading citizens. They bound themselves together by a fearsome oath, which they solemnized, it was said, by murdering a child and consuming its blood. Intelligence of the plot led Cicero to utter a blistering denunciation of Catiline in the Senate. Catiline then left Rome to join his army of malcontents. In response to this, Cicero and his fellow consul, Gaius, were empowered to take up all measures necessary to safeguard the Republic, a significant step similar to a modern declaration of emergency, which invested the consuls with absolute power but did not guarantee their immunity for their actions. Soon after, Cicero uncovered definite proof of the plot and orchestrated the arrest of 9 of Catiline's co-conspirators. These included some of Rome's leading citizens. Eventually, Catiline was killed. I will link the article in the show notes for any of you history buffs that want to know more. So, sorry about the lengthy intro, but I felt we needed to know who St. Augustine is talking about in order to give the reading some context. But let's go ahead and open to page 48 and read Book 2, Chapter 5. The eye is attracted by beautiful objects, by gold and silver, and all such things. There is great pleasure, too, in feeling something agreeable to the touch, and material things have various qualities to please each of the other senses. Again, it is gratifying to be held in esteem by other men and to have the power of giving them orders and gaining the mastery over them. This is also the reason why revenge is sweet. But our ambition to obtain all these things must not lead us astray from you, O Lord, nor must we depart from what your law allows. The life we live on earth has its own attractions as well, because it has a certain beauty of its own in harmony with all the rest of this world's beauty. Friendship among men, too, is a delightful bond uniting many souls in one. All these things and their like can be occasions of sin because, good though they are of the lowest order of good. And if we are too much tempted by them, we abandon those higher and better things, your truth, your law, and you yourself, O Lord, our God. For these earthly things too can give joy, though not such joy as my God, who made them all, can give. Because honest men will rejoice in the Lord, upright hearts will not boast in vain. When there is an inquiry to discover why a crime has been committed, normally no one is satisfied until it has been shown that the motive might have been either the desire of gaining or the fear of losing. One of those good things which I have said were of the lowest order. For such things are attractive and have beauty, although they are paltry trifles in comparison with the worth of God's blessed treasures. A man commits murder, and we ask the reason. He did it because he wanted his victim's wife or estates for himself, or so that he might live on the proceeds of robbery, or because he was afraid that the other might defraud him of something, or because he had been wronged and was burning for revenge. Surely no one would believe that he would commit murder for no reason but the sheer delight of killing. Sallust tells us that Catiline was a man of insane ferocity who chose to be cruel and vicious without apparent reason. But we are also told that his purpose was not to allow his men to lose heart or waste their skill through lack of practice. If we ask the reason for this, it is obvious that he meant that once he had made himself master of the government by means of this continual violence, he would obtain honor, power, and wealth, and would no longer go in fear of the law because of his crimes or have to face difficulties through lack of funds. So even Catiline did not love crime for crime's sake. He loved something quite different, for the sake of which he committed his crimes. At the time of this recording, I just finished reading a nonfiction book called Devil in the White City. It's a story about the Chicago's World Fair in 1893, and the side story is the serial killer H.H. Holmes, who was on the hunt for victims during that time. As a criminologist, I was surprised that I have never studied Mr. Holmes, but he is one of those serial killers that just likes to kill. Now, it's hard to understand, but there are some people that are just like that, and those should be the people that scare us the most. Those that like to sin for sin's sake. And like I mentioned last time, we can see why someone would rob. They stand to gain money or possessions. We can even see why someone may murder in the heat of passion, because they are set to maybe lose someone and they don't want anyone else to have them. The irony, though, is that they lose them themselves. A lot of crimes are committed because a person desires power, as we see here with Catiline. When a person commits a sin or a crime just because they like to commit the crime for the crime's sake, that is a level of deprivation that can be hard to understand. And there are not that many people out there like that. Usually it is one of the two reasons, either to gain something or because you fear losing something. St. Augustine says, quote, "A man commits murder and we ask the reason. He did it because he wanted his victim's wife or estates for himself, or so that he might live on the proceeds of his robbery, or because he was afraid that another might defraud him of something, or because he had been wronged and was burning with revenge. Surely no one would believe that he would commit murder for no reason but the sheer delight of killing." Unquote. Now, I know that those listening are not sitting around committing crimes or sins just because they really like doing that. Most of us have a reason for the sins we commit, either because we want to gain something or because we fear that we're going to lose something. So what can we take from this reading? I would say that we need to maybe think about, is there a sin that you commit frequently? I'm sure there is. I know that I have my sins that I struggle with. If you are struggling to eradicate it, something that you can do is maybe explore why this sin. Do you commit it because you feel like you are gaining something, such as pleasure, power, material possessions? Or do you commit it because you don't want to lose something, or you feel like you have lost something and you're trying to fill a hole? Exploring this could help get to the root of the problem, and we can only truly fix something if we understand it. We will pause here for today, Catholic Pilgrims. I will see you back here soon, and until then, live the faith boldly and travel well.